All right, this is Downlovable Content. This one was done by Andrew Dickman, and man, I've honestly been procrastinating about talking about this one. Not in that I don't have anything to say about it, that in trying to structure the words that I want to come out of my mouth so that they make sense. So there's not just fanboying about all of the cool retro 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, you know, styles that went into the production of this trailer. It's a trailer for a comic, and if you haven't noticed lately, I've been talking a lot about comics and stuff like that. So yeah. But as I said before, and probably I probably didn't say anything before that. I was just trailing myself, trailing the trailer within a trailer, trailerception. Dun dun dun. But in all seriousness, I can't believe I said in all seriousness when I never take anything seriously. Yes. All right, but back to my train of thought before I lose my train of thought a third or fourth or fifth time. This was, from what I'm seeing in the animation itself, inspired by a lot of the early 80s, 90s, and 2000s style of animation that was going on at the time. A lot of it's visually inspired by the grandiose over the top openings with the crazy transitions with the characters being shown up on screen with I forgot the word for it. This I learned about this in school some time ago about this style. It's basically introducing you, the viewer, to the characters before the characters themselves is introduced in the story. I forget what the technique is called. I can't. It's been years since I even thought about that, but it's heavily influenced by a lot of that, which in itself was heavily influenced by a lot of anime from that time, because that was a very common thing that was done in a lot of anime, and then that got adopted in Western animation and so forth and so on. So let's get into it. Okay? Okay. Man, I really like this song. You just feel it. Ooh. Yeah. And drop. Okay. So this is where that first thing that I was talking about before starts to come into play. As I said before, this was very common in a lot of anime. It actually still is a very big. I'm not. Is it? Would it be a trope? I don't know. I can't brain on that right now, but it's still a very big style of introducing the viewer to the characters without having to introduce them in the story verbally. So it's like, you're gonna visually tell the story, much like a lot of people should be able to do with, in visual storytelling. Yeah, yeah. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And what just happened? That was I guess you can call it the hero role. That's where they'll go through the main. I guess you could say the main group. There'll be the protagonist, and then there'll be the protagonist friends. That little transition right there, that was it. That was introducing you to the protagonist friends, to those extra side people who are going to be instrumental in, the protagonist's growth in the story and all that other good jazz. And which also subsequent B rolls into the introduction of what may or may not be the main villain. But much like all that you can see before, it doesn't exactly give you who it is. It just gives you a face of someone who's going to be kind of maybe sort of the bad guy. And this is where I was going at before. This part right here, this part is very clearly Mega Man inspired. Given how they look, I would say this is somewhere of a mix between Mega Man X and where everything started changing over to Mega Man Battle Network and network transmission, and where the animation style and the character designs came from that. I would say this is more leaning towards that style, given how they look. They look kind of like Net Navies, if we're going to be real. Net Navies more than, the Reploids of Mega Man X and the Mega Man series that, we are used to. Enough of my rambling. Ah, yes. I believe. No, that was not Galaga. Oh my god. What is the name? It's not Thunder Force. There was another game on the Sega Genesis. I cannot remember the name. But as you saw, these are existing real world characters that were incorporated as characters into this. Whew. The guy with the blue scarf, clearly Legend of Zelda. The guy with the green shirt, a lot of people probably don't remember this, but Earthworm Jim. That's clearly Earthworm Jim inspired. The Batgirl, I'm drawing a couple of blanks on that one, but it'll probably come to me a bit later. Carrying on. And the obligatory Super Mario. Well, this guy's clearly could, skin Bowser and make a nice new pair of boots out of him, but I digress. You can clearly see a lot of the inspiration in this is coming from early 80s, 90s, and 2000s animations. The style is very, very distinct, as a lot of the stuff back then was heavily oriented more on action and how do I put this? I'm not gonna say action in the concept that explosions and all of this stuff going on, but action and dynamic. The thing you just saw was very, very dynamic with the movements and the colors and the palettes and the transitions and everything happening inside of it was very, very dynamic. And that is something that was very, very important in the 90s and 2000s when it came to animation. Think of SWAT Cats. If you've never seen SWAT Cats, this type of stuff was very, very big in SWAT Cats, but SWAT Cat was more of the action-oriented type of thing. Then you had the He-Man reboot that they had did in the 2000s. The Thundercats reboot that was done in the late 2000s, like way, way, way late. But unfortunately, that didn't make toy sales and it got canceled. Yeah, people are regretting that now because we totally got stuck with Thundercats 4, which also got canceled for obvious reasons. But as I said before, a lot of heart went into this. A lot of heart went into this just to introduce you to a webcomic. Of course, I'll talk about the webcomic a bit later, but that'll happen after it's had time to build up a little bit more of a back reading log, if you will. The comic itself is still very, very new, and there's not a whole lot of chapters to it for me to be able to give any breakdowns in the story or anything like that. As of right now, it's just the main character, her friends, and her being introduced to a world she had no idea even existed. Also, she's apparently in a really, really, really bad dry spell when it comes to relationships. But that's just a theory. A game theory. But enough of my rambling. I feel I should honestly say that a lot of the things that spawned this a lot of it was very, very good content, and a lot of it shaped things in ways that you honestly probably wouldn't be able to pick up on because of the way art and animation tends to adapt with the times and the people doing it. As a new wave of animators and artists come graduate and come out of school, styles tend to change in a wave, and that goes with it. Just like the whole CalOut controversy that was happened so long ago with The Amazing World of Gumball, Steven Universe, and Gravity Falls, and Star versus the Forces of Evil, all the characters' body types and heads were essentially the same. And that was a pretty big stink in multiple communities, but I didn't really invest too much into that. Didn't really care. I was more invested in the story, and it is what it is. But I say but too many times. Button like a button. Alas, for it is shiny and must be stitched. But I digress. A lot of the stuff that came out back then was very good for what it is, and it's honestly a lot of it has withheld the test of time, except for Battletoads. Still incredibly frustrating, still incredibly hard. Yeah, but a lot of this stuff is still viable content in how it was made and the things it helped produce, as well as also continuing to be an inspiration for people like Mr. Dickman here, who, of course, has been in the industry again for at least 10 plus years and has been continuing to produce. And I'm honestly very happy to see this because it brings back a lot of nostalgia feels. I'm a huge nerd for this stuff. I kid you not. As of right now, I'm totally printing out some, I guess you can say, table bobbles. And I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching and giving me the time of day. Isn't that right, Skeletor? No, He-Man! I'm not He-Man, bro. You need to let it go. Let it go. Let it go. I digress. Thanks for watching. I definitely give Downlovable Content a read. It's well worth the read. I'm currently reading it, but like I said before, it's still fairly new. So add it to the watch list and keep up to date when them new pages drop. All right. Peace out. And y'all have a good one.